The first red flag should have been the silence. Not awkward silence, not nervous silence. The kind of silence where you suddenly realize you haven't heard a single sound in several minutes. No neighbors, no traffic, no TV, nothing. Just her staring at me from across the apartment with this tiny smile on her face. And somehow, that scared me more than anything that happened afterward.
This happened last winter. I'd been using Tinder casually after getting out of a long relationship. Mostly late-night scrolling, pointless conversations, trying to distract myself. Then I matched with a girl named Ava. Her profile was strange. Only 3 photos. No friends in any of them. No bio except, "Don't waste my time." Honestly, I almost swiped past her. But she messaged me first, and the conversation moved fast. Too fast. Within maybe 20 minutes, she was already asking personal questions. Not normal stuff either. Things like, do you think people can sense danger before something bad happens? Or, what would you do if someone trapped you somewhere? At the time, I thought she was trying to sound mysterious. Now I realize she was probably testing me. We talked for 2 days before she invited me over to her apartment. And yeah, I know how stupid this sounds now, but she seemed normal enough. Maybe just intense.
Her apartment building was downtown, near an area filled with old offices and empty streets. I remember almost nobody being outside when I got there. Even the lobby felt abandoned. One flickering light, no receptionist, no sound except the elevator cables moving somewhere above me. I almost turned around right there. Something felt off. But loneliness makes you ignore instincts you should listen to. When Ava opened the apartment door, she looked different from her pictures. Not worse, just exhausted. Her eyes looked sunken in, like she hadn't slept in days. But she smiled immediately and acted warm enough that I convinced myself I was overthinking things. The apartment itself was weirdly empty. No decorations, no family photos, barely any furniture besides a couch and a small dining table. It felt temporary, like someone pretending to live there. She offered me a drink, and we sat talking for a while.
At first, everything felt normal, until I noticed she kept staring at the hallway behind me. Not glancing, watching it, like she expected someone to walk out of the darkness. Eventually, I asked, "Are you waiting for somebody?" And she responded, "No, I just don't like when it gets quiet." That sentence stuck with me, because right after she said it, I realized how silent the apartment really was. No air conditioner, no traffic outside, nothing. It felt like the entire building was empty. Ava suddenly stood up and locked the apartment door. Then the second lock. Then a third one I hadn't even noticed before. I laughed nervously and asked, "Expecting a break-in?" She looked at me for a second too long before answering. "They come in sometimes." I remember this cold feeling spreading through my stomach. I asked who she meant. She just smiled again. then changed the subject completely. That's when I should have left. But I didn't want to seem paranoid. So I stayed.
Around midnight, Ava started acting stranger. She'd disappear into the bathroom for long stretches of time. And every time she came back, she seemed more agitated, pacing, scratching at her arms, muttering things under her breath. At one point, I noticed bloody marks on her fingernails, like she'd been digging into her own skin. I asked if she was okay, and she suddenly snapped at me. Not yelling. Worse. Completely calm. She said, "You need to stop asking questions." Then immediately smiled again, like nothing happened. That switch terrified me. It didn't feel normal. It felt rehearsed, like she was trying very hard to act human. A few minutes later, the lights in the apartment flickered. Ava froze instantly, just completely froze. Her eyes locked onto the dark hallway again. Then she whispered, "They know you're here now." I felt my entire body tense up. I asked who knew, but she ignored me. Instead, she walked into the kitchen and grabbed something from a drawer. When she came back, she was holding a hammer. I remember staring at it, trying to convince myself there had to be a reasonable explanation. There wasn't. Ava sat down across from me, holding the hammer in her lap like it was completely normal. Then she quietly said, "If they come in here, don't let them take your teeth." I actually laughed from pure panic. And that's when she slammed the hammer into the table hard enough to crack the wood. I jumped backwards so fast I nearly fell over the couch. Ava immediately started apologizing, crying, saying she didn't mean to scare me. Then, maybe 5 seconds later, she started laughing. Not normal laughing either, the kind that sounds completely disconnected from reality. I realized then that I was alone in an apartment with somebody deeply unstable. And suddenly every locked door in the apartment felt very real. I told her I was leaving. The second I stood up, her expression changed again. Cold. Empty. She stepped in front of the door and quietly said, "You can't leave after midnight." I tried pushing past her, and she swung the hammer. It barely missed my face and smashed into the wall behind me. That snapped me fully into survival mode. I shoved her hard enough to knock her backward and started fumbling with the locks. There were too many. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely open them. Behind me, Ava was laughing again. Then crying. Then laughing. I finally unlocked the door and ran into the hallway. And I swear to God, the hallway lights shut off the second I stepped outside. Complete darkness. Then I heard the apartment door slowly creak open behind me. I didn't look back. I just ran for the stairwell as fast as I could. But while I was running, I could hear her barefoot footsteps following me slowly down the hallway. Not chasing me, walking. That was somehow worse. I made it down to the street and drove home shaking so badly I almost crashed twice. Police later checked the apartment after I reported everything. Nobody answered the door. And according to the building manager, no tenant named Ava had ever lived there. The apartment had supposedly been empty for nearly 8 months. But the part that still keeps me awake sometimes is what I found in my jacket pocket the next morning. A small folded piece of paper. In messy handwriting it said, You were supposed to stay.